I got the tire chains on, and then starting the machine up, it kind of made some funny sounds. It started, but I had a sneaking suspicion that something happened with the starter. Let's see here. Over the summer, I didn't do a video of it. I think it might have even been, I think it was this summer. Anyway, there's a retainer on the drive of the starter. It was a plastic, or it was metal. And when the starter kicks, it's the stopper for the gear that engages in the flywheel to turn the motor over. My retainer had broken, so I fixed it with a lock nut that I welded, and worked okay. I just wasn't about to go buy parts because it was middle of COVID and having troubles like that. And now we're officially locked down again, and the mower broke. So it's probably going to be the same kind of farm fix we did last time, depending on what the issue is. But let's pull this cladding off and see what the heck is up. I think I got all the fasteners off between using a 3/8, a 5/16, and a 3/8 box wrench. And I took the air cleaner cover off too. What do you see here? Anything suspicious? Yeah. There's the gear down there next to the cylinder head. We're gonna have some fixing to do again, I suppose. Alright, I'm gonna get that gear out of that hiding spot. I could see the gear and the spring and everything hiding down in there. Let's see what we get. Well, it looks like we got the parts back. I'd say that starter gear has seen some things. Wow. All right. Well, I think we're going to have to get a little bit creative. Because I don't know if I'm going to be able to buy parts for this. We'll have to play with it and see what we can come up with. All right, give me a few minutes to figure something out. Well, I've got the parts. This is a plastic gear that's driven from the starter. And then it's got this cap and return spring that's supposed to sit underneath this material here. So when you drive the starter actually pushes that gear up the spiral cut plastic, engaging it into the plastic flywheel, and then turning over the motor. Clearly this thing's had its day. I'm going to just hit it with the file, clean up those sharp edges. Hopefully it's still going to be sendable. I have to take off this retainer that I welded, which isn't exactly what broke. So I'm going to have to probably cut that off and then weld it back together when I'm done. Once I get that off, I can worry about putting this all back in, testing it a few times, seeing if it actually engages properly, and so on and so on. But it's a little bit of a delicate process, but I think it's going to be more of a hand cutting process than much of anything else. So a little tedious, but we'll see what we can come up with here. Well, I gave that about 3 seconds of patience. decided to step up my game here. This will either go really good or really bad. Famous last words, right? Bye-bye. All right, I needed a washer, and I had to be able to manipulate it a little bit, so I'll try making one and see where that gets me. Every week has a weekend. By this time Friday. Also for those naked pictures of you at the beach. I've influenced kings and world leaders. I helped Hemingway write like he did. I bet you a drink or two that I can make you put that lampshade on your head. It's the day I left Milwaukee. So I'm going to open this lock ring. I'm going to pinch it. I'm going to pinch it around the groove that's cut into the starter drive. And then I'm going to weld it to this brand new washer that I made. So then this cap should not let go. It should keep that gear in check. I'm going to do a little more looking just to make sure, because I could probably make that washer larger even. The bigger it is, the better, because I think that's what does all the stopping on this gear. So let me dive into this just to double check, because if I go a bit bigger with it, I might still clear the flywheel. All right, we're stepping up the size a little bit here. There's the original washer, and there's the new washer. We're just gonna drill out the center bore now. Alright, I got it shaved down a little ways here. It doesn't drill 100% centered. I mean, you saw how I did it. But it doesn't interfere with the flywheel or with the crank gear there, so I think I'm going to send it. Next step is going to be to fit on that lock washer on that retaining slot there, and then weld everybody together so it doesn't come off. I put the lock washer in the vise, I flattened it, and then I hammered a chisel into it to open it up. So it's almost large enough to fit. It should be able to be forced on there. I don't want to bend it too much. Now you can put a socket on it and then hit the back end of the socket to drive it over, and it should pop down. But I'm going to just hit this with the grinder and clean it so it's ready to be welded, because I've got the washer now ground down and cleaned up too and ready. So once the lock washer's over this seat in place, I'm going to crimp it closed, and then I'm going to weld the lock washer shut to this washer here. And it shouldn't come off again until I have to deal with this gear, in which case we'll just destroy this thing and get it apart, because I'm sick of it. All right. Load it up and trucking. Here we go. So now that lock washer gets pinched shut and then welded. So when I squeeze this with the channel locks, it closes enough where I can weld that gap shut. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Give it a good pinch, weld it shut, then there's no chance of it escaping. But I think we're on the right track here, because that's definitely going to keep that spring seated. So we'll have to give her a test whirl after the fact and see what happens. I'm going to get the welder ready. Well, that's the best way I can figure to get a ground on there while I squeeze the clamp and then hit the welder. So I think you guys are going to watch from back here. Give me a second. All right, well, I know. Don't judge. This is about the best I can come up with in order to be able to squeeze that lock nut, or the, there we go. Yeah, to squeeze that closed, have a ground on it, and hit the welder at the same moment. So let's see what happens here. I'm just going to do a quick safety squint, and we're going to give her a hit and see if it lands. That got her. So I'm thinking if I was to do a couple of tack welds with this washer here, it should definitely keep everything in check from wanting to run away on me. And that'll give it less room to bounce and to move. I think the more room it has to move, the better chance it has of breaking again. That's my 2 cents anyways. Let's get this side. Oops. All right, another safety squint. Here we go. Well, I can't say that I don't like it, because I kind of do. Yeah, look at that. It engages nice. That should slap the gear up nice and hold it. And then once the engine starts running, it pops the gear back down out of place. So I think this is going to be about the best chance I'm going to have at keeping this thing alive. All right, let's see. Looks good to me. Looks good to me. That thing slaps pretty damn hard. I'm wondering if a little bit of grease on there couldn't hurt it, just to keep everything kind of free floating. But that'll at least help it release properly. So anyways, I'm happy it actually works. So let me put her back together. Finish mounting the snowblower like I came out to do for this 20-minute job. You know how it is. All right. All the plastics are back on. I didn't bother recording it, but I also welded that guard back together, and just because I thought, what the heck, it's there for a reason, I might as well keep it intact. Maybe if that gear and drive was to totally explode, then the only thing that's not, you know, the only thing keeping it inside the mower then is this shroud, this little piece of plastic, so maybe it's there on purpose. All right, let her run for a little while, charge up the battery, clean my stuff up, and get ready to rehang the snowblower.